bit to me.
The last couple of weeks, yeah, I would have. You mean it's just kind of like he started
early in the year. His cars were very fast, and he had top 5 cars
what
every
it is
week.
It's kind of like when they almost like in a horse race. They started, they let him out of the gate, and boom, he just sprinted off, and he almost sprinted out too quick to where now he's coming back to the field.
It seems like the field's catching up to him, yeah. And Johnson seems to be gaining momentum right now. Even Junior seemed to take a step in the right direction yesterday for what it's worth. I mean, 12th wasn't great, but it was in the right direction. Hamlin's team seemed to have a really good car. Kurt Busch seemed to have a really good car. Kenseth had a top 5. I mean, there were a bunch of guys that had decent cars.
One of Kenseth's better runs of the year.
Yeah, Casey Mears got a top 10. I think that might be his first of the year. I'm going to look this up right now.
It is his first of the year for sure.
Oh, geez, this is my computer just froze on me. No, it didn't. Okay.
But
no, it's his second top 10 of the year after Richmond. He finished 9th at Richmond.
Okay. Well, then they're showing there were a lot of good finishes in the race. It's too bad for Denny Hamlin what happened.
Yeah, Hamlin just blew a right front. That was a shame. But he seemed too upset about it. He was taking it in stride. As weird as that sounds, like that he wasn't upset that, he had a great run taken away from him. I mean, sometimes these guys got there to be petulant little children about it after the race. It's hard to feel bad for them. I feel bad for Denny because he's not like, woe is me about it.
But looking at the finishing order, a couple of things that Biffle and Kenseth, both some of their better runs of the year.
Yeah, especially for Roush. Roush has been off across all the series. I mean, even in their Busch series, like Carl Edwards hasn't won a Busch race this year.
However, Dover is historically kind of a Roush runs well there.
If it was this time last year, Roush wins this race. Biffle or somebody, or Kenseth or Edwards ends up pulling it out.
And then what's interesting for me over the last 2 points races, I know we always talk about throwing out Charlotte or throwing out, the rain races, but Casey Kane, that's 2 top 10s in a row, and he was top 10 at Charlotte.
Except for one thing. I take this with a grain of salt because this time of year, Casey Kane's always good. He's always, remember this time last year, we were like, Casey Kane looks like a championship contender, and he missed the chase. If he's still running this good in July, I'll consider him. Right now, I write him off just because
the summer always does them in.
Because it's May, and this is his late spring, early summer. I'm gonna make everybody think I'm good run. He'll fall off, I think.
And then Ryan Newman another top 10.
Yeah, Newman's. Not just like you said about Stuart Haas, not as just is Stuart leading the points, which is noteworthy in itself, which is the first time since 1992.
Since Alan Kulwicki.
Since Alan Kulwicki won a championship as an owner driver, which in of itself was like a historic day. He's leading the points. It's the first time an owner driver. But now you've got Newman, who's, let me see here. Newman's up to 5th in points. Stuart Haas has both their cars in the top 5 in points. Though I think our friend Kyle put it best. He goes, hey, if I knew that Stuart Haas was just going to be the 2 Hendrick cars or the 5th and 6th Hendrick cars, I would have thought they were going to do well too.
Well, it's still very impressive. We talk about it every week, but I really think it's worth, at least mentioning in the fact that is just like you said this a couple weeks ago. It is just so impressive, and I said they were going to do well, but as you said, I didn't think they were going to do this well, and it's very Tony Stewart's got to be on top of the world right now.
Oh yeah, I think this has been the best move for him anybody could have ever thought. I wonder is like, when is there going to be a third team? How can you not run this well right now and be thinking about how, can we find sponsorship for another team?
I'm sure he's not thinking about that right now, though.
Maybe not, but But
in the not so off distant future.
Are you kidding me? If you have some of the guys that could be free agents this offseason or whatever, like Truex especially is the big name right now that looks like he could be available, or even like Montoya, who I think is not long for Ganassi just because he wants a competitive car. Think about that. If I'm Stuart Haas, do I want to get Truex? Absolutely. Do I want to get Montoya? You bet your bottom dollar that I do. But the point is that if you can get the sponsorship, get the guy. Expand that third team. You got 2 cars that are running well. Isn't that what it is? Have all your ducks in a row before you add more. They've got all their ducks in a row, and it's 5 months into the operation.
Yep. What's interesting about Tony Stewart also is he, throughout this year, has historically been a slow starter, and that is even more impressive. We haven't mentioned that, and I forgot about that. He historically I can't remember. I know he's never been leading the points this early. However, I think it's something like he's never been in his 10-year career been higher than at this point, 13 races in June, has never been higher than third or fourth, and that was like one time. That is incredibly impressive to me.
There was a time he was. I can't remember what it was, but I could be wrong. Maybe he never was up to. I know there was a time where he was like second early in the year.
He's never been the points leader. Yeah, I know that for a fact. He's never been the points leader this early.
I'm not entirely sure. I swear up and down that he has at one point or another. I swear I've seen it happen.
Well, I know he hasn't because I heard it. I heard them say it.
Who's them?
ESPN.
No. Well, I mean, I don't really trust ESPN, so.
Well, it's just interesting to me. We're digressing. It's just interesting to me whether or not, whatever the stats are, it's just very, very interesting that he is the highest or very, very high compared to where he normally is. The fact that he usually heats up in the summer and in the fall, I got to rate him up there as one of my top championship contenders now.
I don't expect him to heat up in the summer and the fall just because it's an atypical season for him.
Oh, yeah.
Since it's atypical already, I expect it to continue to be atypical. He's hot right now, so which means eventually he's going to slow down. He's going to cool off a little bit. So I think that's going to happen here in a couple months. I'm not saying he's going to be terrible, but I mean, instead of taking 9th place cars and finishing second with them, he's going to take 9th place cars and finish 9th with them. Or 13th or whatever. I mean, there's going to be a day here soon where it's going to be like, man, Stewart just ran 16th all day. What happened? And it's all we're gonna say. Well, it finally got up to him.
Which everybody has those.
Yeah, it happens to everybody, and so it's not really a knock on him. It's just an observation of the cyclical nature of auto racing. We have one more NASCAR thing to talk about.
I was gonna say another interesting thing. That's what I was gonna say,
and we even mentioned it real quick. Was Dale Earnhardt Jr. Was my hat? Was the car right here in front of me? Yeah, Junior has a new crew chief, and. The funny thing is, you said we were talking about this yesterday, and I said, and you almost seem to have forgotten this. I've never been completely for the idea of removing Tony Eury Jr. Or I should say, I've never been the one out here blaming him. That being said, everything, if I've read correctly, it sounds like this is a step in the right direction. Cautiously optimistic. You can count me that. I think the real thing is, though, this is the thing. People are going to, and you said yourself, in 2 or 3 months, if they're not improving, you got to look at Junior. Can you elaborate what that means?
Okay.
What do you mean by that? So I understand I don't understand how I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
Here's an this is the best example that I can think of on the spot on the top of my head. If you have an organization and there's one person that you feel that the organization is struggling, whatever organization you take that to be, and you say, oh, this person X has been the problem. Person X has been the problem. Even though we all know it's probably been a little bit of everybody. Person X has been the problem, so we replace them, and then nothing changes, or statistic, whatever. This is a very vague example.
Okay.
And then person Y struggles also. Or person Y also brings us into the organization, so they fire them. And then person Z, and then person A. You just need to start looking at the other people as in general as maybe that's the issue. And what I'm saying with Junior is I said this. I don't have anything against Junior. I've never really had.
You have a funny way of showing it.
Well, I'm trying to be very objective. And the fact of the matter is, in 2 or 3 months, with this step in the right direction, if there's still, barely getting a top 12 or finishing 12th, 13th, maybe getting a top 10 here and there, how can you not say that maybe there's something wrong with, and I'm not just saying Junior, maybe there's something wrong with the team, maybe they're not getting the best equipment. I just don't, I think it's,
well, no, the question I'm asking you is if in 2 and 3 months, if there's not working, is Junior the problem? And if so, what
Perhaps.
does that mean? Are you saying that in 3 months, if they're not doing better, that they should remove Junior from that team?
I'm not saying that. It's just how.
I mean,
it's
you
just
have
very
to be more
interesting
specific in what you mean by that, because I mean, if it's
maybe he's just not as good a driver as everybody thinks he is. Yes, he had his year in 04 or whatever. Yeah, I know. But maybe he has not done much since then. Maybe he's just an average, just maybe slightly above average driver. And he's on the best team in NASCAR and struggling.
After the 2004 season, you say, oh, he had his year. Okay, first of all, I want to ask you this. Can a driver win multiple races in a season and not have talent or not be very good?
No, but interesting enough, I'm going to liken this to another thing. Hold on.
No. This is my turn now. You had your turn. Okay, so there's no. Second of all, what happened after the 2004 season?
His crew chief got replaced, if that's where you're going.
Yes, Tony Uri Sr., not Tony Uri Jr. Tony Uri Sr. got removed.